This is the Serrano Brothers podcast.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Jeremy, today we are going to talk about what?
You know what? Let's talk about something going on the interwebs here. Let's talk about this person on TikTok who is doing the baby formula social experiment. Have you heard about this?
Oh, yeah, dude. I even posted on TikTok my response, and it's almost got like 50,000 views on it now. That's the most
Holy
I've ever had on
cow.
TikTok. Yeah.
That's really good. So tell everybody what it's about. What's this social experiment she's doing?
This woman is calling different churches, and she has a recording of a crying baby in the background, and she tells whoever answers the phone that her baby hasn't eaten since last night, and if they could please buy a small can of baby formula. And I think it was up to like 33 or 36 churches that she called, and like 3 mosques as well. And out of those, I think it's like a total of 6 said yes. The rest said no to the immediate need in some way. And what I mean by that is there's a little nuance there, is some referred to other organizations, right? Some referred to like food banks or whatever.
Which I'm
But
not
essentially,
sure that's a no. Well, do you think that's a no?
I do think it's a no.
Okay.
I do.
Say more.
And the reason I think it's a no is because it's like, although food banks are great and I think they've missed the fact that the need that was right in front of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we could talk, we can talk more about that. But like, I think when all is said and done, what made this a great social experiment was it was a mother, a baby, and the ask was very specific. A small can of baby formula.
Right.
That's what made it, I think, it wasn't money. It wasn't, it wasn't anything else. It was one small ask. And there are some people who just said no straight up. And we know that's not, I don't like that. The people who referred to or the organizations, I have a problem with that too. And that's
okay.
My issue with that is you miss the person in front of you. You treat people as objects. You treat them as problems to be solved. These other people can solve your problem, and they miss the humanity of the person in front of them. I don't care what church you are, how poor you are, how in the red you are. In my mind, you should have said yes. You should have found a way. You should have found a way.
Because what those pastors or those church people could have called is they could have said, early in my ministry, I literally had zero money. And so to give money out of my own pocket, I didn't have it, right? But I do have people in my congregation who have an excessive amount of money, right? Like, not excessive, but they have money to spare, right? And what I think is pastors could have said, I don't, or whoever answered the phone is, let me take down your name and info. Let me find you the money. We will get it for you.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so even if I couldn't say yes because I don't have the money, because there have been times where my bank account was negative when I first started ministry. I think I could have called a couple of parishioners and say, hey, listen, I have somebody on the phone. Their baby hasn't eaten in 24 hours. They're looking for baby formula. Is there any chance that you could help with that? And I know that my parishioners would have been like, absolutely, we're on it.
Yeah, that should have been the response, like a helpful curiosity, like a helpfulness. And when you listen to the videos, it's a not helpfulness. Oh, we don't do that here. Oh, we don't have any baby formula in our pantry. Oh, you know what I mean? It's kind of just like, it's like a no with a period instead of a no with or a not right now this second, but let me figure it out for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's this willing, like, there has to be a willingness to, this is this person's problem, and now it's our problem as the church, right? Like that's what compassion actually is co-suffering, right? Somebody has called you with their vulnerability and suffering, and now you are taking that on as your own. I have to say, though, I'm only willing to do that with some extreme things because I get a lot of phone calls. We have a food bank at our church, and it's one of the biggest ones in Contra Costa County. And we give away a lot of food, but because we have a food bank, people think that we have other resources. and we don't have cash. We worship 40 people. We're not a big church. And so we don't have spare cash on hand. But I get phone calls all the time for gas, get phone calls. I've had people call from hotels who want a credit card to stay at the hotel.
That's the one I get. Yeah.
And to be honest, I think those people, I'm not going to judge their need because I don't know if they're real but I'm not willing to take that on, you know. Baby formula, on the other hand, for a baby, I see is such an extreme and specific need where I don't feel like it's not just giving cash for something.
See, and that's exactly that's my issue with all the pastors who have responded, even progressive pastors, right? Who are feeling defensive about
Yes.
not giving about, we can't help everybody, or we give so much money to other organizations, and those organizations are the ones that provide the services. And because that's our church too, right? We give money to Second Harvest Food Bank, to Samaritan House. We make sandwiches for a place called Street Life Ministry. Like we do good, but
But
there's a defensiveness,
mhm.
and it's it feels like almost they're trying to make excuses. And to me, those are just they're missing the fact that it was a mother and a baby in front of them. Like
They're
that's
missing the humanity in front of them. And so let's talk about those pastors who, let's back up a little bit. There are some pastors who are judging this woman, calling her a witch, calling her evil. What do you think? Do you think that this thing that she did, do you think there was anything wrong with that?
not at all. Not at all. Let a mirror be shown to us, right? It acts as a
I'm
mirror.
the same way. Yeah,
It acts as a mirror. And I think that I think periodically be shown who we are,
yeah.
And if the fact of the matter is that most churches did not help, I don't care the reason, I don't care the excuse, that should act as a mirror to us and go, what the crap is going on here, right?
I
What are we
agree
doing?
completely. I have no problem with what this person did.
Yeah,
I
whatever.
think
Yeah.
think it shows who we are. So
Yeah.
I'm with you. And I think that those pastors who are deflecting and then making themselves the victims of some, nefarious person, I think they're absolutely wrong.
Absolutely. Right. So those people, I think we can just dismiss outright. They're terrible pastors out there. And there are people who calling witches, dude, you need Jesus. You need some
Right.
real Jesus in your life, because to say that is ridiculous. It's the
So
ones,
we agree.
it's the next one, right? It's the people who got defensive because they do good in their community. Those are the people that I have a real problem. Because those are my people, right? I feel like those are my
Right.
people. I feel like
Right.
those are the people, because I've said no to people for hotel rooms. I don't always give, and the reason I say they're my people is because when I initially saw the video, I felt that defensiveness welling up in me too. I felt yeah, they didn't help, but we do all this good. So even though we can't help everybody, we do all, you know what I mean? Like I started, and then when I'm having this internal dialogue or thoughts to myself, I go, wait a minute. Let's pause that defensiveness and let's examine it and say,
So I felt
you
the
know,
same way. We have a big food pantry. We give out thousands of pounds of food. There's time where we have formula in our pantry. There's times where we don't. And I did a TikTok and I said, I don't know if I would have passed the test because I don't know if I would have seen the person and the need in front of me.
yeah, I think that's real honesty though, dude.
Yeah, and sometimes we do treat the poor like they're just a problem to be solved rather than a person. And I think what this woman did was a gift to the church
Yeah,
in showing and getting us to evaluate and slowing us down, and to really stop what we're doing and think about each person who comes in need.
yeah, I, yeah. And I gotta
And
say,
not all needs are like the other, right? Like I don't feel bad for turning down cash for gas or cash for hotel rooms because those are the two things I get. If people want food, we already have a food pantry and they can get as much food. Like we don't have any kind of like we don't check people's IDs when they come for our food pantry. They can come as many days a week as they want to come. Like it's just totally open. You can come. But I've never had baby formula. I've never had that call.
Yeah. I think it acts as a wake-up call, right, for all of us, and just to remember the humanity of the person in front of us. One of the things, we both made TikTok videos about this. I said mine home has almost 50,000 views, I think, on it now. And I'm realizing also that like a lot of the comments, I can't tell if they're troll bots or what, but
Right.
I don't feel like they watch my video. They think I'm excusing the actions, and I'm not at all. I'm like, my whole purpose is like, I want to call us back to recognizing the humanity of the people in front of us. But a lot of people, I think they just stopped at one point because I used the word compassion fatigue, and they're just like, blah, 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 compassion fatigue. You shouldn't be doing church. And I'm like, no. I'm calling us back from that, not excusing it at all. In no way was I
think people will
excusing
pick out
anyone.
words. They'll pick out words and they'll just hyper focus on that rather than the totality of what you actually said, right? And so they hear compassion fatigue and they just start attacking. And it was like, no, you said compassion fatigue, but you didn't excuse them with compassion fatigue.
Right.
And I think theology of churches plays into how defensive they got. Some are defensive because their ego, they do good work in their community. But some are defensive, I think, because they're a part of holiness traditions. And if you are a Christian in a holiness tradition, then that means you are saved and your life is one of becoming progressively more sanctified, more holier, more righteous, a better person. And your pastor is supposed to be the best person. And those pastors are being defensive because if they messed up, then that shows that they're not as far along as they should be in their sanctification, in their holiness.
Yeah.
And so they're defending that they didn't do anything wrong. And let me tell you that is one of the reasons why I'm Lutheran, is because we don't have that kind of holiness tradition. We have this idea that like, I am always going to mess up. And when I am called to account and I'm told that I did the wrong thing, I evaluate myself, I bring it before God, I apologize to the other person, and I try not to do that same thing again.
Right.
And so let's talk about the aftermath of responses. Have you noticed that it's not only the actions of some of these churches, but their response that really determines or really reveals their character?
Oh, totally.
Say something about that.
No, I think we have been talking about that, right? Their defensiveness, or one person calling a witch. That was the worst one.
Demons, I've heard be called demons.
Yeah, like all of that kind of reactions is kind of that deny and deflect sort of thing, instead of holding a mirror to yourself. So I think that's the real crux of the whole thing. I don't know what much more to say about that. But have you seen the people, like, did you see the one pastor they're calling the Appalachian Pawpaw? Have you seen that guy?
No, what happened?
So it's this Appalachian Church of God, I think, in Christ. It's this old pastor there. He looks like he's in his 80s. He asked the woman, he's like baby formula, okay, what kind of baby formula do you have? What flavor of baby formula do you need? Like, not only I will buy it for you, but what kind do you need? Right?
And that's somebody who has had kids, has had grandchildren, who knows that not every baby formula children respond in the same way.
Right. And at church that Sunday, the story is recounted, right? And he prays for more people to come into his life like this, for that call. Like if there are more people that need it, bring them so we can help serve them. And my understanding, and I've only done a cursory thing, so I don't know how true it is, but people are just donating to that church like crazy right now. And some people are saying like, this really rekindled my faith in some, like, cause this just old pastor in this Appalachian church didn't say, said
No.
yes immediately. And not only yes, but what kind, right?
You know what verse
So,
that makes me think of is Jesus saying, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven."
yo, yeah,
You know, that he was just like, "Okay, how can I help? I'm gonna help you." And people see the Jesus in that and are like, "We want to support that." And the way we know how to do that is with our money.
right, right,
That's beautiful. That is
right,
beautiful.
right. And I mean, I totally agree, and I think we should be lifting up the people that passed, right? But let's not only lift up the people who passed in the Christian tradition. She also called 3 mosques, and every single mosque she called, without question, said, "Come down and we'll give you some baby formula." Without question. And
What would it be like if the church was like that?
I mean, come on, right?
I think we'd see a revival, to use the,
Yeah.
to
Yeah. And this is what more evangelical Christians claim, right? Is that social services should not be done by the government. They should be done by the churches. And one, I think this test reveals that churches are not equipped with enough Jesus to do this, right?
Mm,
And
mhm.
that's a pipe dream. It's an evangelical pipe dream. And so I don't think that since it has no basis in the possibility of reality, just by this small test, we go, that doesn't even work. That doesn't even make sense, right? Not to mention that uh somebody did kind of the math and said, if every church had this many people and they gave this much amount of money, it still would be a fraction. And those
Right,
people tithe 10%. That would be still a fraction of what government services provides for people, right?
right.
So, anyways,
Yeah, that is a pipe dream. I think that this is a real opportunity right now for Christianity in the United States, and it's an opportunity for us to evaluate ourselves.
yep,
It's an opportunity for us to be reminded of who we are and what we're supposed to do in serving the neighbor in front of us. And listen to all those Christians who are discouraged and who are like, this test doesn't matter because it's just people who want to trap the church and just have one more negative thing to say about them, because I am seeing that as well. We failed because it could have gone the other way. It could have gone that every one of these churches said, "Oh, you just need a small can of formula." Absolutely.
right,
And they would
right,
have nothing to judge us on.
right, right. Yeah, by saying you're just trying to trap churches is they were right,
They didn't
like,
help.
right, it was in darkness and it was brought to the light,
Yep.
right? So let it shine there, right? Let's be reminded of who we are,
And I think somebody's going to have to be really clever, duplicate this, because there's not really much like asking for a specific need for a starving infant
Right, right,
in that moment. There's
totally,
really nothing like that,
right,
right? Because food banks, adults can go days without food. They can go to a food bank the next day. Infants can't do that. They
totally,
need to be fed constantly, regularly. And so somebody's going to have to get real creative. And I hope somebody does get creative. I hope somebody does something like this again,
right,
so that we can again be tested on whether or not we are seeing Jesus in the needy neighbor in front of us.
right, right. But even more, like, may they be people who actually need help.
Yes.
Right? Like may they actually be people who have specific needs and need help, right? And may we have the wisdom and discernment to know what is a scam and what's not, right? Like it would be so great if we never got those those calls that raise up our red flags, right? And we just and that they're all real needs in front of us, and I understand the defensiveness, but like, man, it would be so great if we got a call and said, hey, I need baby formula, and could you help me out? You know what I mean? Like, that would be so great. I don't get calls like that very often in my congregation. I just don't.
I get calls for electric bills, for hotels, for gas.
Yeah.
Like I get those because we have a food bank, but all of our money goes into the food bank. Like, so that's, and any money that I give out comes from me.
Yeah.
And so I am very discerning about any of the church's money we use for things, because it diverts it from our food bank, which is our focus. But at the same time, I give money to people on the street who ask for it, because Jesus says to do that, and it's not my job to judge how they're going to use that money, right? Because I think that we hear that a lot by Christians as well, is, well, I'm not going to give them cash because all they're going to do is buy, booze with it or drugs. And I'm like, somebody on the street is seeking comfort from alcohol or drugs. They're living on the street. Why are we judging them for that?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a hard life, man. And I think people equate a broken morality or a failure of morality with people who live on the street. And that's absolutely sinful.
Yeah, I agree. It's just interesting enough. I did get a call this last week, and just a woman who needed some groceries, and Ann and I, we bought her groceries.
But was
And
that church money or was that your money?
It was church money. We use church
Yeah.
money.
You have a line item for that?
I don't have a lot. Like, we'll find it.
You can find a space for it.
I could find. If I told somebody to donate the receipt of it, they would donate it. So but like, if I got a call every single day with every single, like, I would have to be more discerning, right? I could spend
Right.
$100 and but I can't. I don't know that I could spend 1,000 or 10,000. We have a tight
Right.
budget too. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so, if that started happening, it'd be like a different, we'd have to start finding it, right? We'd have to start, because I'm like you, we're a small church, tight budget,
Yeah.
so, but I'm grateful that they came. It reminded me of this, there's this old movie with, I think is it Kurt Russell? I don't know. No, not Kurt Russell. Oh, I'm forgetting his name right now. But it's World War I time. He loses 2 kids in battle, and during World War I, and he goes to try to find the bodies of his children. And they had lost. It's British side or whatever, the colonial side that had lost to the, I think, Ottomans or something like that, this battle. And so the Ottomans, if I recall right, are taking care of the mass graves, and the generals are talking with the big super general or whatever, and they're like, why should we help this guy? Why can't we just send him away? Why should we help him find his kids? And he says, because he's the only one who came.
Oof.
And so when this woman called, I'm like, well, she called. Why should we help her? Because she called. And I think that the same thing goes with the baby formula. Why should we help? Because she called.
Because it's easy to blow it up into like societal issues and systemic sin of poverty and all of that kind of stuff, right? And progressives, we do that all the time, where we make it all system-wide and bigger. But what that does is it allows us to not meet the need in front by just making it systemic.
Totally.
Hey, man, we've been going for 30 minutes now.
Yeah.
Give some encouragement to the church as a whole in this. If you had to tell the church something as a whole, what would you say?
I would say 2 things. Remember the humanity of the person in front of you. Show that compassion, right? And then I would say 2, be brave and bold and be willing to help.
And I would add, repent when you mess up.
Yep.
Friends, thank you so much for listening. This has been the Serrano Brothers Podcast. We'll see you soon.
Peace.